Welcome to the Bradling Podcast, your home for expert wedding planning advice. Today, we're going to go over 7 important questions to help you find your perfect wedding florist. So let's dive right in. First of all, what you want to do is ask for examples of their work. This should be pretty easy as they can offer you some photos to look through, or if you're in their shop, possibly even live examples that they have available during the consult. You want to make sure just to check out their work online before you even make the appointment. That way you know you like it. And then ask if they have any examples of their work at your specific wedding venue. And that leads us to question number 2. Ask if they've ever done weddings at your ceremony or reception site before. Having a florist that's knowledgeable about the space, shapes, and colors can really help when you're trying to do your floral design. Also, if the florist has been there, they're going to understand venue restrictions and other limitations about working there. Ideally, your florist will communicate with your venue directly to be sure that your plans don't interfere with the venue's policies. If the florist has not been there before, ask if they're willing to do a site visit. This is not essential, but it's a definite plus and might be able to save you some money in the long run. And also, as a wedding planner, it helps to ease my nerves if I know that every single vendor has been to the venue at least once, so they know how to get there and they can recognize it once they arrive. Question number 3. Ask how many weddings is the florist handling on the same day or weekend as yours? It's not uncommon for florists to do multiple weddings in a single day and have multiple floral setups in a single day. And a professional florist will make sure that they have enough staff available to cover your event and probably some extra people on hand just in case of an emergency. But you want to be fully aware of who's going to be setting up your event the day of. This way you can know if that person's ever worked on site at that venue before, and also if that's going to be the same person you're doing your consult with or who you're going to be working with the overall floral design. That's not always going to be the case that your event designer is actually going to be on site doing the floral setup, but at least make sure you're aware of whether or not they're going to be there before the day of your wedding so you're not stressed. Question number 4. Ask your florist, will you simply be dropping off flowers or will you be helping with the setup too? There are totally different costs associated with these two types of orders. And some florists even have minimum prices that need to be met before they'll even travel on site in the first place. If your order is small, you may be forced to do a pickup order and have a family member get the flowers for you the day of. If you qualify for a delivery, expect to pay a fee for it. Don't assume anything about setup or logistics. Delivery and setup are 2 different things, and so expect to pay a fee if you opt for setup too. And trust me, if it's in your budget, opt to pay for setup. If you want a florist to return for teardown and cleanup, that's going to be an extra fee as well. And it might even be that there's more money tacked on to the fee if it has to be done after hours. For example, if your venue has events booked all weekend, they might require that the florist comes out Saturday at midnight for cleanup versus Monday morning, like if they didn't have a Sunday wedding. Question number 5. Are you willing to work within my budget? Now, florists are pretty much magicians with flowers instead of wands, and they can do wonders with a wedding budget by replacing the more expensive stems with similar looking flowers. And they can also get creative or just simplify your florals. But first, you need to understand a couple of things about working with a budget. Number 1, you have to be open and flexible to new ideas if you're working within a budget. Number 2, you have to be very willing to scale back, especially if you find yourself in the position of being surprised by the cost. Now, let's be honest, if you've never done this before and you have absolutely no idea how much flowers cost, you're probably going to be surprised. And number 3, some floral companies have minimum order prices they have to meet before they can work with the client or before they can deliver on site. So don't be surprised if you have to make some concessions and possibly do a pickup order and have somebody pick up the flowers for you and then set them up for you once they get on site, like a family member or one of your wedding party. Question number 6 you should ask your florist is, do you offer any other rentals? Florists can sometimes act more like event designers, and you may be able to get extras like drapery fabric, lanterns, candelabras, or anything like that from them. Dealing with one company can make the process easier on you and eliminate additional delivery fees. Plus, then the florist really knows what they're working with because it's their stuff. If they don't offer these rentals, ask if they partner with a rental company often. If so, they may be aware of certain things in their inventory that they work with often. And of course, if they're going to refer somebody, they work well together. The next question: what happens to the flowers after the wedding? Ugh. So here's the ugly truth about your beautiful flowers. If you don't make alternate plans for them, they're going in the trash, sister. Wedding venues, florists, and planners deal with leftover flowers multiple times a week. So we look at it more like stuff that needs to be cleared out of our way during cleanup, more so than beautiful arrangements that will brighten someone's day. So, to make sure your flowers go that extra mile, you need to make arrangements for your floral arrangements. They could go home with your parents, but you need to make sure that they have plenty of space in their car and they're willing to do so before the event so they can make special accommodations. You could send the centerpieces home with VIP guests as extra little favors. But you need to be mindful if the containers are rentals because you probably won't be getting any of them back. You could donate the flowers to a nursing home or a nonprofit, but you need to make sure to work out the logistics for pickup and drop off in advance. For example, a nonprofit in this area will only do pickups on Mondays. If you're doing a Saturday wedding in July, your flowers aren't going to last until Monday outside for them to pick them up. So, we hope that we have answered some of your questions about questions you should ask a wedding florist. For more expert wedding planning advice, just follow us at thebradlink.com.